Keelah, all. Welcome back to Soul Mechanics. I just had like just enormous burst of inspiration from a certain video that I watched, which was one second, a very particular operative that we have in play, who I'm sure he's very well aware of who he is and what he's doing. But he's a blue who is just the most astoundingly, like, just impressive and powerful, one of the most impressive and powerful operatives that the initiative has in play at the moment, and in fact, in my opinion, has ever lived, period. He's just mind-blowing how awesome this guy is, and I can go back to his videos and such anytime that I need something like this, and I forget that, but I go back and I watch his video and I get this huge burst of inspiration, and I come up with, like, I mapped, in the span of 20 minutes, I mapped out like 5 videos that I could do, and I was like overwhelmed with it. I didn't know which one to choose, which one I wanted to do the most, but decidedly I landed on this one. Has got to be the most important right now because it lays the framework for the others going forward. But that video, I'm going to give you a link to that video. It's a man that his name is Tony Robbins. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, you probably need an upgrade because it seems you're living under a fucking rock. But he's one of the heaviest contenders that we have in play. I mean, anywhere this dude goes, whatever he does, he has this habit, and we're speaking of habits here, he has this habit of just lighting the fucking darkness up everywhere he goes. I mean, he shows people what's really going on, and he's an inspiration to me. So I'm going to post a link because he covers some things that I'm not going to cover here because he already did. That's why he's here. So I'm going to direct you to that in regards to some of the things I don't cover here. But I mean, I just took a bunch of notes. Like, all this stuff started coming to me just from one little video I watched of him. This is how values work. This is how the game plays. You know, certain values are going to come into play that are going to unlock pieces of yourself, like keys. Combinations of values come together, and they can unlock doors in the psyche that'll open up entire thoughts. And I took all these notes. By the way, this is how I map things out. It's very organized from my perspective. That's going to come into play in one of the following videos, probably the third from now. I'm going to save that one for last, but anyways, this is an important video that speaks to the layer of psyche or the layer of identity that makes up what you are, essentially. So, everybody, I'm gonna need for you to have a seat here and open up your eyes and your mind and sync up here. So, beginning with the initial fracturing into dualities, the defined dichotomy, essentially we have the feminine and the masculine aspects of persona. And for, you know, if you're unaware of the energy that's involved there, it's going to be the two primary energies, which is ground energy and free energy, and that's going to be positive and negative charge. Females are a negative charge. They have a tendency to receive. But this reflects, like it's reflective, so they're receiving, but at the same time they're giving, like it's in their nature. Biochemically speaking, they're kind of hardwired to be, of a nurturing sort of nature. That's what they're built for. Women are to be motherly, to be matronly, while males are a positive charge, and this reflects, again, males have a tendency to want to take and accumulate and build, and that's hunter-gatherer mentality, really, the primitive aspect of the self, but this for the purpose of giving, for the purpose of providing, so it's a positive charge, but again, you know, opposites attract. That's how the magnetics of it operates. So, the two primary drives that they're going to have, and these are two primary drives that exist in everybody. It's going to be the feminine and the masculine aspects of your persona, not just whether you're a male or a female. Like, I'm a very feminine male, and I lean towards this loving aspect, where love, you know, the feminine aspect, love is their ultimate goal. It's what they want to do, is be loving, be providing, be nurturing, be matronly, while males Males are seeking significance. They're seeking recognition, respect, and ultimately it's going to come down to respect being the bottom line here. If you want the key to succeeding in the game, the key to winning, to beating the game, is having self-respect, having actual respect for yourself. And respect means honor. Respect means truth. It means honesty. And so really the key to winning the game when you're playing the game is to have, Tony Robbins, when you go to his video, he's going to tell you that the key to winning the game is to have your sense of presence match up with your expectations. That is to say, if you have a blueprint for how you think life should be and what you want to get out of life, how you think your life should be, you're going to weigh out your success based on how close you come to that, or whether you match up with that or exceed it. Like you're going to have a bottom line for how you think you should be living your life, and then you want to match up with that. But I'm going to go ahead and say on a deeper level that the key is to have how you see yourself match up with how others see you. That's the key to winning, is to having who you decidedly want to be match up with how other people are seeing you. Now, of course, you can be winning the game by default if you're seeing yourself in a negative light. You're seeing yourself as something shitty, and other people are seeing you as being something shitty. We got a winner. Winner, winner, chicken fucking dinner, but you're failing, in a sense. You're failing yourself because you're failing to live up to your innate expectations of what you want to be, or your desires, that for a positive outcome, or what, in a manner of speaking. But people are going to have drives. Tony Robbins is going to point out 6 primary needs. 6 primary needs in the human facility, essentially. And if you look around, like I said, I'm directing you to his video so that he'll map out these needs for you. He'll show you what they are and how they operate. I'm not going to do that because it's a waste of my time. You can do that yourself with this video. But if you look around in any faculty, any avenue of exploration in life, any distinction that you put yourself in, any sort of organization set that you have in the game of life, essentially, it's always going to have 6 primary factors, or 6 primary faculties that is going to line up with the catalyst events, because it's all matching up. It's all going to match up. However, there's only 6, while there's 7 major catalyst events. That's because the 7th one is always going to be this unknown factor. The 7th one is going to be the achievement, the progression into the unknown and to exploring the void. It's going to be the boundary, is that 7th factor. But there's always going to be 6 primary factors, and there's 6 primary human needs that he maps out. Now, one of these needs is certainty, and we have that, we do have this need for certainty, and we do have a need for uncertainty at the same time. And these seem conflicting, but they're actually not. You can work that out. We'll get into that later, but this will probably continue. But you can achieve a bad habit. This is speaking to habits. I'd like to point that out. The point of this video is speaking to habits that we have, that habits that form our personality. And as I've stated, excellence is a habit. That's a habit that you want to entrain, because the other habits, essentially these habits are masking you, they're hiding you, and it's what you're ultimately trying to do, really, is hide from reality. That's what everybody is trying to do. And that's where visibility comes into play. Again, if you want to match up who you really are from your own perspective with who you really are from the world's perspective, you want to create that connection. But the problem is that people have problems. The problem is that people make up problems to set themselves back, ultimately. I mean, everybody has problems. Problems are real, obviously, but people are going to use problems as a crutch, because essentially what they're doing is creating a disconnection from themselves and the reality that they are the creative influence, that they are the cognitive faculty, that you are the God presence in your life, and you are responsible for it. It's your responsibility. You own this life. You need to let your owner out. As I've said so many times before, let your fucking owner out. Realize your responsibility, that your response ability That is to say, your ownership and your innate, your free will. That's what free will means, is your ability to take charge and how you react and how you create. So this is, you want to be that person. Everybody wants to be the person that can take charge of their lives, that can do, and some people fall into the habit of deciding that they don't want to be, that they want to back out, be in the shadows, that they want to block themselves off because they're afraid. They're afraid of accepting that responsibility, ultimately likely because they're afraid of failure or because the odds seem overwhelming. Whatever the case, they create this disconnection by focusing on the problems that they have. Now, what we want to speak to with these habits is A, visibility, and B, the difference between just average, everyday, ordinary citizen and being an operative of the initiative. Being operative. Now, being operative, essentially the difference is that you're going to be essentially seeking these needs, love or significance, and a variation of both, really a combination of both, and you're going to have, I gotta look through my notes again. They're not very coordinated. My notes, I just kind of go nutso with them. But again, it's coming back to the ground and the free energy, and it's coming back to progress. Really, progress equals happiness is something that Tony Robbins is going to say over and over again. It's one of his mottos, I suppose you could say. And what you're going to do, if you're not operative, is you're going to focus on problems, you're going to create problems and set yourself back so that you can progress. It's like it's having an addiction, which habits and addictions kind of hand in hand, almost the same thing, but they can be a little different in a sense. You can make a distinction between a habit and an addiction, but most habits become addictions. And where an addiction comes into play, essentially what you're doing is you're setting yourself back, you're giving yourself a handicap so that you can default, so that you can get back to baseline. And it's like, I smoke cigarettes because I just love to. I do it all the time. It's not even really an addiction anymore. It's just an ongoing, it's a property of my inherent personality, really. But that's a bad example. But using the Mitridina speciosa I mentioned, I'm addicted to. On one hand, I'm addicted to it because I wouldn't enjoy my time as much without it, and I wouldn't be able to get the most out of my time. And on the other hand, I'm addicted to it because my body will have a withdrawal effect without it. When I sleep, I spend a lot of time, I dream and dream and dream, and I spend a lot of time, pack a lot of time into that sleep. So when I wake up, it's like I'm coming back from a whole other life, literally a whole other life. Sometimes lifetimes I'm returning here from, and I'm beat. My body is going through distress, and I'm set back. I'm handicapped because I can't wake up fast enough. I can't get up and go fast enough. I can't get back to default fast enough. So I use the Mitridina speciosa. What happens? I get back to baseline after 10-15 minutes. I'm back to default, and I'm ready to rock and roll. That's me setting myself back, giving me myself a handicap so that I can get progress by getting back. And that initial progress in the beginning of the day, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's a habit, and these habits make up who you are. And the thing is that people mask themselves with these habits, and if you can manage to, especially if you're a blue, you're going to have a talent for this, you're going to have a habit of doing it. You can break through those habits, you can break through that boundary, and you can see the real thing. You can see the real person beneath pop out for a moment, and it's beautiful. But it's usually just from a moment to moment. When you get into a drift and you engage synchronicity and you're on a drift, it's an ongoing process of synchronicity after synchronicity. You're hitting Q after Q. You're going to run into people that are going to share that experience with you, and we're going to speak to how people share these experiences. But that's going to be for another one of the next videos. But when you share that experience and people are visible and you see the real person ongoing for a while, and you share these stretches of time where you're sharing your real selves with each other, it's so beautiful. And it's it makes me want to cry just thinking about it. It's just when you see the real person through their habits and through their inhabited identity. Now, what you need to think of, though, when you're dealing with things like addictions is going to be that there are implications attached to the very nature of addiction itself, which it's implying that the implication attached to having an addiction, period, any addiction, is going to be that you cannot be successful or you cannot be your real self without it. That you require this something to be who you are, and thereby you set yourself back, you give yourself a permanent handicap. And that's when I say, you know, when I've said before, if the world pushes you around, if the world tells you that you need something to be who you are, fight back. That's what I'm talking about. And obviously I give in to many addictions. I'm not perfect, so I'm not like the guru on this, but that's the key. That is the key. That's the point of it all. That's the name of the game. So the difference, though, between being just ordinary, average, everyday citizen and being an operative is whether you're using problems or solutions, whether you're being inspired or being an inspiration. And that's, you know, if you can manage to take the lead, a lot of people I run into, there's a very special someone I'd like to shout out to here. I think I'll send her this video, Candace. People are afraid to take the lead. She says, I don't want to be a leader. You know, I want to manage my own stuff. I don't want to be a leader. And that's okay. You can make that decision. But if the world is telling you that you're supposed to take the lead, try it. Because you have no idea how much power you gain. And when I say power, I'm not talking about power over other people. What you do get power over other people for sure, but you get power in yourself to stand up to yourself and to fight back against yourself, that shade, those habits that are weighing you down and telling you that you're not good enough in some way. You know, that just holding you back and pushing you down. You fight back against that, and that's the ultimate challenge. Sometimes people are, like Candace has a very special challenge that she's actually overcoming. I'm not going to, you know, that's her personal business, but she has a few very special challenges presented to her. And some people get, like, people who get cancer, that's a hardcore challenge. And really, whether you beat the cancer or not, overcoming the negativity of it is going to be being excellent in the face of disaster. That's going to be the real challenge, and that's how you beat the fucking game, is developing excellence as an ongoing habit that you keep, you know. But again, we have this habit of creating problems as a means of disconnection from the reality of our responsibilities. And that's, you know, that some people use false solutions, like religion, for example. They use religion as, the fuck are you doing? Dude, are you serious? No, they use religion as a shelter, as I've said before. They use religion as a shelter to hide from themselves, essentially, and to hide from reality. And the reason that religion is so effective and that the indoctrination is so easy is because people encounter challenges in their lives that seem to be something evil. They encounter the dark sides of themselves. They encounter the shade in life. And they see it as being something evil. They see it as being something terrifying and overwhelming. They want to run away from it. And when they do, religion snatches them up and says, that's a demon. That's something evil. That really is evil. That's Satan. They're going to blatantly lie to you. Anybody who's read the Bible knows damn well that Satan's not real, that it's a bullshit hoax made up by Catholicism. But they're going to lie to you and tell you that it's Satan because that's the trap, that's the fucking fishing lure, that's the bait that's going to snag you. There's a reason why they say, they speak of man with fishing as a metaphor. I'm a fisher of men. There's a reason they use that parable. And there's a reason that they call their people a flock. There's a reason that they speak to people as being sheep. These are farming terms, fishing terms. These are you're an animal to be enslaved and trained and slaughtered terms. That's what it means. That's the implication attached to it. That's the reality behind it. And they're going to tell you that these things you've encountered are evil, and they're going to give you an easy out by saying it's not your responsibility, you don't have to deal with it, you're not the God presence. God is judging you based on how closely you follow our dogmas and our creeds, and that's it. That's all that matters, and it's that simple. And most people are going to say, thank you. Thank you for making everything so much easier. I no longer have to take responsibility for my life, and they're going to use religion as a shelter to hide from the light, to hide from God. That's what they're doing. And there are habits we're going to speak to in another video, another Destiny video. We're going to speak to the 6 primary control dramas. These are things that we refer to them as being control dramas. They're habits that people use essentially to gain energy through attention. And if you read the Celestine Prophecy, or if you read it, it gives a vast outline, a whole schematic for the four primary control dramas. But there are 2 more that we've identified beyond that. That we're going to teach you about in another video. Now, again, certainty is going to be one of the bigger needs that people have. You get into these 6 needs. Certainty is going to be one of the biggest needs, that people want to be certain about things. And for example, having an addiction, you get that setback, that handicap, you can be fucking 100% certain that using whatever it is you're addicted to, making use of that addiction, is going to set you back to baseline. That's your need for certainty being fulfilled. And when you, Tony Robbins will explain, when you do something that meets 3 of your own personal primary needs out of the 6, you're going to be addicted to it. And that's probably true. I think that I'm going to have to look into that deeper, because that actually just became illuminated to me. But it unlocked a lot of other shit that I have to add to his stuff. So watch that as a background for it. But yeah, there are 6 primary control dramas. There's 6 primary needs, and again, the difference is that ground or free energy. That's going to be the difference between being ordinary, that's going to be the difference between being an NPC, so to speak, and a player. Becoming operative is going to be whether you're a ground or a free energy. Free energy is the inspiration. It's driving, it's leading. And as I said, when you take the lead, you're going to gain so much from it. You have no idea. The world will provide whatever you require for whatever task you decide to take on. You just have to be able to spot it. You have to be able to snatch it up and make use of it. The world will put it in play for you. God only gives you what you are capable of handling, or something. I forgot exactly what the saying is, but it's true. That the world will provide what is needed for the challenges that you decide to accept. The responsibilities that you take, you're given what you're equipped with what you require. You just have to be able to spot it and have the will to make use of it, to take charge. But again, the difference is the ground and free energy. The ground energy is going to be anything that isolates, anything that drops you down, blocks you, holds you back. Habits that give you that sense of certainty, that you can just kind of hide and be in that bubble. But you want to be visible. You want your idea of yourself to match up with others' idea of who and what you are. So that's I think we actually managed to get it all down here. Thank you for watching. Keelah, Taerve, siari, Namasté.